Ayan, so good day, class. Wait lang ha. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about quarter 3, week 7 of similarity, or the similarity. Quarter 3, week 7 of the module, which is similarity. Okay, I want you to spot the 5 differences between the two pictures. Okay, very good. And now, for the lesson 1, similarity. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to illustrate similarity of figures, proves conditions for similarity of triangles. Specifically, the AAA similarity theorem, SSS similarity theorem, and SAS similarity theorem. The AAA similarity postulate or theorem, the angle states that if three angles of one triangle are congruent to three angles of another triangle, then the two triangles are similar. Like this. If angle L is congruent to angle W, then angle U is congruent to angle H, and angle V is congruent to angle Y, then triangle LUV is proportional or congruent to triangle WHY. Now here, given the figure below, prove that triangle RIC is proportional or congruent to triangle DIN. So first statement is the given. Sino tanong mo, sir? Nganong wala may given gihatag ganong mo man na mo nasulat. So let us look at the figure. This figure here. Now, as you can see, no, naa siya arrowheads in the two line, in the line RC and line DN. Now that indicates that line RC and line DN are parallel to each other. Okay, so that is the given. So we base it from the figure. And now the second statement. Okay, now angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. And also angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. By alternate interior angles are congruent. Now, when two lines that intersect to each other, and here like this in the example, and then there are the two parallel lines, no, these are the lines that intersect, and then these are the two parallel lines. That states that this angle here and that angle there is the same or congruent, and also this angle here and that angle there is also congruent. Now we know that angles 2 and 6 are congruent. That's 1. Angles 1 and 4 are congruent. That's 2. We know that the two angles are congruent. Now the third statement is angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. By vertical angles are congruent. And now, since two lines that intersect to each other, so from the point of intersection, the opposite angle there are congruent. By vertical angles, congruent. Now, since we already proved that the three angles are congruent, therefore we conclude that triangle RIC is congruent to triangle DIN by AAA similarity postulate. Since the three angles are congruent, therefore the triangle is proportional or congruent to each other. Now, the AA similarity postulate or the angle-angle similarity postulate. Now, we can say, or we can also prove pala na even if two angles ang atong gigamit na congruent even if we prove that the two angles of the triangles are congruent, therefore the two triangles will be congruent or proportional to each other. Like for this example, if angle A is congruent to angle D and angle B is congruent to angle E, therefore triangle ABC is also congruent or proportional to angle DEF. Now, the next theorem or the postulate is the SSS similarity postulate or the side-side-side. States that two triangles are similar if the corresponding sides of two triangles are in proportion. Okay, so given the figure below, prove that triangle ERT is proportionate or equal to triangle SKY. Now, since we already discussed in the last lesson the proportion, we have already discussed proportion. Now, in proportion, no, we have the ratio. Okay, so let us read this. The first statement, it's 3:9, as 4:12, as 5:15. Okay, here there is that one. 3:9, 4:12, and 5:15. And now, by simplifying the fractions, we've got 1/3. Now, the answer is 1/3. When you simplify 3/9, it's 1/3. When you simplify 4/12, it is also 1/3. And if you simplify 5/15, it is also 1/3. Now, by the solution 1 of the proportion, of the properties of proportion, okay, the solution 1 of the proportion, which is simplifying fractions. Now, if all the three fractions are the same when simplified, meaning all the three are equal, meaning it is proportional. So therefore, we can conclude that the triangle ERT is proportional to triangle SKY by side-side-side similarity postulate. Okay? Nasabtan? Okay. Now, the SAS similarity postulate or the side angle side similarity postulate states that the two triangles are similar if an angle of one triangle is congruent to an angle of another triangle and the corresponding sides including those angles are in proportion. Sum. Okay. Now if QR is to TU, line QR is to line TU, as line PR is to line SU, and angle R is congruent to angle U, then therefore, triangle PQR is proportional to triangle STU. Okay, let us have some examples with proving in this theorem. Now, statement 1 is always given. So here, look at the figure. We have line RA is congruent to line AM. And line PA is congruent to line AX. Although that's the given, first statement. The second statement is that vertical angle theorem. Now, when two lines intersect each other, and the point of intersection, which is the line, the point A here, the opposite sides are always congruent. This angle here and this angle here is congruent. No, the angle RAP is congruent to the angle MAX by vertical angle theorem. Now, since we know that these sides are congruent and that this angle is congruent, therefore we can conclude that triangle RAP is proportional to triangle MAX by side angle side similarity postulate. Okay. Now, let us try this. Now, show that the two triangles are similar. Prove that line AB is to line DE as line BC is to line AD. So the first statement will always be the given. The second statement is that angle ADE here is congruent to angle B. Since we know that line DE and line BC are parallel to each other, therefore these corresponding angles, this angle and this angle is congruent to each other. Now the third statement would be that angle A is congruent to angle A by reflexive property. So this by reflexive property. So now we can conclude that triangle ABC is proportional to triangle ADE by angle-angle similarity postulate. So as you can remember a while ago that we talked about the angle-angle similarity postulate. Now since we know that angle ADE is congruent to angle B and also angle A is congruent to angle A, now the two angles are congruent. So therefore, we can conclude na proportional gyapon si triangle ABC and triangle ADE. Now the fourth statement, no, since wala pa nato na conclude na wala pa nato na prove na line AB is to line DE as line BC is to line AD. So let's continue. Now line AB is to line AD. AB is to line AD. By the proportional niya. No, line AB is to line AD as line BC is to line DE. Corresponding sides of similar triangles are proportional, no? Since we know that this is proportional, so meaning that we can write it in this position. And now, that the reason for that is corresponding sides of similar triangles are proportional. Okay, now, so we will use now the cross multiplication property to prove that line AB is to line DE as line BC is to line AD. Now we can conclude that line AB is to line DE as line BC is to line AD by cross multiplication property. Okay, now let's have a recap. We already talked about the AAA similarity postulate, where if this example we have triangle LUV and triangle WHY, where three angles of the triangle are congruent to the other triangle, it means they are congruent or proportional. Now the AA similarity postulate, if angle A is congruent to angle D and angle B is congruent to angle E, then therefore triangle ABC is congruent or proportional to triangle DEF. Also, the SSS similarity postulate, the side, where all the sides of triangle ERT will be proportional to triangle SKY. And lastly is the SAS similarity postulate. If line AB is to line QR and line AC is to line QS and angle A is to angle Q, or is to angle A congruent to angle Q, then triangle ABC is congruent or proportional to triangle QRS. Okay, and that would be our topic for today. Now, use this video lesson, no? Pwede ninyo siya balik-balikon o tanaw para mas makasabot yun mo. And it will help you guide in answering your modules. Hope na makatabang ni siya nga video lesson to answering your modules. Okay? Okay, thank you for listening. And that's the